Romantic getaway or the start of something bold and new? Barış Baktaş's late-night move in Dubai has everyone whispering. Welcome to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. Before we dive in, make sure you're subscribed and ready, because what unfolded just hours before the new year felt like a spark thrown straight onto a field of dry gossip. One image, one suitcase, one word. Dubai. And in the very same breath, the loudest detail was actually a silence. There was no trace of Yüksel by his side. The post looked effortless, but its timing was explosive. A sleek airport corridor glowing under midnight lights, the gleam of a hard-case suitcase, and that single caption. Dubai. No hearts, no hints, no sign of a shared itinerary. For months we've seen Barış Baktaş and Yüksel holding hands on carpets and sidewalks alike, smiling with that subtle confidence that comes from building something real in front of the cameras. They didn't just exist in each other's frames, they lived there. And yet, on the cusp of the new year, he flew, she stayed, and 1,000 questions started breathing at once. Is he welcoming the year alone? Is the city a sanctuary or an escape route? Why wasn't Yağmur on that flight? Is there a twist none of us have caught yet? It hasn't exactly been a sleepy year for him. A pilot for a new suspense series shot under tight secrecy, an international co-production gaining traction in Europe, and a period drama that refuses to stop trending. The momentum has been relentless, the attention non-stop. So this sudden solo departure toward a city known for privacy and spectacle lit up comment sections like fireworks. Who will be standing next to Barış when the clock strikes 12? Who, if anyone, is sharing the balcony view of that neon skyline? Because in celebrity land, sometimes a single story post ends up talking more than a full interview. His did. It wasn't coy or sweet, it was cool, almost clinical. Dubai. That's all. Fans split instantly. One camp said, he needed a breather after a crushing schedule, let him breathe. Another camp read it like a coded announcement, distance, decision, and the end of a chapter. What threw oil on the fire was the parallel silence. While Barış was boarding, Yağmur was uploading snaps from a glitzy Istanbul night, a brand event where she smiled under flashing lights, all sharp lines and confidence, tagging stylists and makeup artists but not him. Two timelines, no overlap. Coincidence or careful choreography? There's a reason this detail holds so much power. For weeks, any mention of him carried her name in the same sentence, and the reverse was just as true. They appeared side by side at premieres, at private dinners, even on family-tinged afternoons that felt warm and easy. They weren't hiding, they were simply living. That's why this particular separation feels so loud. There's no visible fight, no messy unfollow spree, no clipped statements. Just space. And in this world, space invites a million interpretations, most of them dramatic. Why Dubai? For Barış, the city hasn't just been a place to visit, it's been a switch, a reset button. In past chats he hinted that Dubai felt like a place where he could clear his head, step back, and listen to himself without the noise. A spot to recalibrate. So when he chose that destination at the very moment the calendar flips, it didn't look like a lover's holiday. It looked like a man stepping into his own echo. The hotel glimpse he later shared was exactly that, breathtaking skyline, a serene suite, a hush that carried through the frame. Beautiful, yes. But the quiet was the headline. So is he really alone? That's the question everyone keeps looping, and 3 possible answers are circling in the backrooms of the gossip ecosystem. The first is simple and strangely noble, alone by choice. After an exhausting year. Production stress, international press, a set that kept demanding more, he may have decided to ring in the new year without anyone else's energy mixing with his. A long exhale dressed up as a quick flight. The second is thornier, the distance between Barış and Yağmur might be real. Less interaction online, fewer shared frames, and that glaring New Year gap. Yes, she had a professional appearance and a schedule to honor, but they have juggled obligations before. When a pair that usually syncs stops syncing, people notice. And then there's the third story, whispered and fragile, a surprise name. Someone untagged, someone off camera, just outside the frame. It's the kind of rumor that thrives where mystery lives. And to be fair, there's no proof. Not a single shot, not a single clue beyond imagination. As minutes ticked toward midnight, social media turned into a live panel. On Instagram Reels, on trending tabs, on tiny comment threads under unrelated posts, the same melody kept playing. Something shifted. He looks more distant. The quiet feels like a choice. Even fans defending his right to solitude found themselves circling back to the same sticking point. Where is Yağmur? No shared toast, no two-person reflection selfie, not even a playful story of coordinated outfits. Just two different rhythms humming in different cities. New Year's Eve is a mirror, and it's merciless in this universe. Where you stand, who you call, the first image you choose to send to the world, it all becomes a message whether you meant it or not. So the idea began to grow that maybe this wasn't heartbreak, but a reset. Maybe a new season is opening for him. The question tugging at the edges remains the same: does that season include her, or does it glitter with the unsettling promise of change? Everyone waited for that first fresh post of the year as if it were a final scene before the credits. Would it be a moody snap of coffee against the dawn? A skyline reflected in floor-to-ceiling glass? Or something a lot louder, a photograph that would cut through the fog and rearrange all of these theories in an instant? Equally, a post from her could swing the room the other way. A caption with his initials. A shared room number view. A tiny, familiar bracelet resting beside a second cup. Any of those could have ended the guessing game with a smile. For now, what we know is slender but sharp. Barış is in Dubai. Yağmur is not there. And this is not being read as random by the people who watch their every move. The earliest days of January will decide the temperature for the rest of the winter. Because sometimes stories don't break with declarations, they soften into silence, and silence tells the truth in a different tongue. Still, let's rewind the tape on the year that brought them here. He stepped from one set to the next, crossing time zones, making the press rounds, shouldering that heavy mix of expectation and intrigue. She balanced brand work, scripts, and image building with the kind of poise that draws cameras without asking. Together, they learned to be a pair that functioned under the lens. So if there's distance now, it didn't appear out of nowhere. These gaps grow slowly, between calendar reminders and postponed dinners, between messages answered too late and jokes that don't land like they used to. It's not dramatic, but it's real. And yet, there is another side. Sometimes distance is the last thread holding two people steady while everything else spins. A decision not to perform, not to advertise every moment, not to feed the animals circling the fence. Maybe that's what Dubai is, a pause button, not a stop sign. A place to weigh what matters with the sound down. For fans, the ambiguity hurts, but for a couple under a million eyes, it might be the only way through. Of course, the rumor of a hidden companion refuses to die. Dubai is a maze of private lounges and quiet lobbies. It would be easy for anyone to slip through unseen. But the deeper truth is that the loudest element in his images is the emptiness around him. If there is someone else, they're invisible. If there isn't, the composition already tells the story he once told: a man in a city made of glass, looking in. Comments keep looping on a theme. He's changed. He's gone inward again. The captions are shorter, the expressions cooler, the gestures more abstract. And in defense, a chorus rises too. Let him change. Let him draw a boundary, let him make a ritual out of peace for one night. But even the defenders drop into whispered curiosity the minute Yağmur's name comes up. She was dazzling in her own frame that night, but there's a space where his hand might have been. Viewers notice the spaces as much as the sparkle. So we wait, refreshing feeds the way people used to watch the horizon for ships. The first week of the year is a kind of trial. Do they meet in a different city? Do they post from the same cafe an hour apart? Do they offer a sly nod to those who believe, or an unblinking refusal to engage? Once the next clear post lands, this entire storm might shift. A caption could soften everything. A picture could harden it into fact. There's a line that keeps echoing in my head, sometimes the answer is loudest when nobody is talking. For the moment, this looks like one of those times. Still, fairness demands a caveat. Professional schedules can be merciless, and romantic timing notoriously imperfect. They've navigated tricky calendars before, squeezing snapshots of closeness into slivers between crises. So it wouldn't shock me if a single photograph in the days ahead rewrote all of this suspense into a reminder that love, too, runs on its own clock. Until then, the outline stands. A man, a city, a suitcase. A woman, a spotlight, a separate rhythm. Whether this is a breath between verses or a curtain lowering, only they know. The last thing anyone should do is pretend certainty in a story still writing itself. But that doesn't stop the speculation, and maybe that's part of the ritual too. The new year needs a mystery, and tonight it chose them. We'll keep watching. And when that next post arrives, be it a hotel window at sunrise, a table for one, or a two-person reflection where we can finally make out the shape of a familiar shoulder, we'll be here to read it with you, frame by frame. Because with Barış and Yağmur, the smallest details carry the largest meanings, and this moment is built entirely out of details. Tell me what you think. Is this a gentle pause or the quiet before a storm rolls in? Do you read Dubai as a sanctuary or a pivot? Could there be a surprise we haven't even guessed? Drop your thoughts below, because in our next video we'll take the most compelling theories and test them against the clues as they arrive. Like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss it. This story hasn't closed its book yet. The first true reveal of the year might be a single sentence, a single look, or a single shared view from a balcony high above a city that never goes dark. Until then, this has been Turkish Spotlight Secrets, watching the silence and waiting for it to speak.